Welcome back. All right, so the Chicago Blackhawks have pulled the trigger and they have fired Jeremy Colliton after a miserable start to the season for the Chicago Blackhawks, both on and off the ice. And yeah, there's another article on here that has to do with the whole Hawks thing and all the fallout as well. So, in place of Jeremy Colliton, Derek King takes over. He's being called the interim coach. We'll see if he's interim or if they keep him around. Colliton, it was just not working. There wasn't any part of this that was working for Chicago. Last night's game was just, it's been a failure. So now the GM's gone, the coach is gone. It's an ugly scenario for Chicago. And so we'll see how it works out. Derek King had been coaching in Rockford as the head coach since 2019. They have also fired assistant coaches Thomas Mattel as well as Sheldon Brookbank. So they're out. But Corey Crawford and Jimmy Waite will stick around as assistant coaches. So, yeah, the tire fire that is this year's Chicago Blackhawks continues to burn brightly. Speaking of which, Rick Westhead's reporting, and this is where, if you are somebody who wants to see Gary Bettman out, your ears can perk up a little bit, and you can snap too. Rick Westhead's reporting that sponsors are not happy with the NHL's handling of the investigation into the Chicago Blackhawks, but they really weren't happy with the tone set in that press conference by Bill Daly as well as Gary Bettman. They felt that was horrific. They felt that given the scenario that had been presented for that press conference, that they handled it very badly, that they didn't give it the gravitas that it needed, and that's where owners would then say, "Wait a minute, we just lost sponsors. How did we lose sponsors? Well, what did Gary say?" And then they look at that and they go, "Oh, that's not good." And that's where owners would start to put pressure on Gary Bettman, or we'd start looking at how the structure of the NHL looks and maybe make a change there. And I mentioned it earlier in the week, how I think the NHL could end up bringing in somebody else to handle these kinds of things and leave Gary Bettman just to the business side of the game and leave him out of those kinds of press conferences, because, yeah, it was bad. And the sponsors looked at it and said, this is terrible. So if sponsors are threatening to pull their money, that's when owners pay attention. It is one of those things, too, where we can vote with our wallets and decide we're not going to support this or that related to the National Hockey League, whether it's tickets, whether it's merchandise. But yeah, the NHL will perk up and listen if sponsors, the big sponsors, are saying, this is not a product that we want to put our name next to because it tarnishes it. If you look at this platform itself, what changed the way that the ads were doled out to videos and to channels was that kind of complaining from sponsors. It's one of the reasons why there's no swearing on this channel either, because sponsorships and all that. I don't have a sponsor directly, but there's ads on videos that of course help to support the channel. And so you want to make your content as ad friendly as possible. The NHL is really aware of how important ad revenues are, especially after signing a brand new deal in the US. The last thing they want is for, now that the added eyeballs from the ESPN fans are on them, to have this major overarching scandal that's made worse by the commissioner. So we'll see what happens from here. But again, the Chicago Blackhawks have fired their coach. They've brought in an interim coach. We'll see if there's any other moves to be made or if that's it. And again, 2 assistant coaches have been pushed aside as well by the Chicago Blackhawks organization. And so the question then becomes one of, can they start to turn it around, or are there serious issues with the Chicago Blackhawks that could be interesting to follow next year? Remember, Fleury just has the 1 year left and then his contract's done. And then there's some guys making a lot of money in Chicago. We've already heard, like, Taves doesn't want to be part of any kind of a rebuild. So we'll see. And that was a quote that was quoted to him, 2 years ago, that the Hawks had no interest. The Hawks core had absolutely no interest in being part of a rebuild. So if Chicago says, you know what, we're going to have to tear this down, it's possible the veteran players say, well, we want out. And it's possible with all of the other off-ice stuff and all the other distractions that they say, yeah, we want out of here. So we'll see what happens next, and we'll see what happens with the sponsors as well, and what kind of pressure that puts on the National Hockey League. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.